It's our final timeline of Timeline Week before going on to your regularly scheduled Friday video, and I figured we better give Sci-Fi some love and check out the Westworld series. This one used to be a bit of more of a cult classic, but obviously in the more recent years, it's taken on a new life. But let's see if there's any timeline to be had, or if it's going to be a little slow on the draw. Let's go all the way back to 1973 for Westworld, directed by Michael Crichton. And we learn about Delos, a vacation spot where you can be transported to a place with robots play-acting cowboys. But there's also Roman World and Medieval World, and it costs $1,000 a day in 70s money. We then meet Tan Dracula's worst enemy and George Lutz, and they're going to Westworld along with someone who needs a break from 8 kids apparently, and they arrive all decked out in Old West gear and are greeted by the assortment of robots designed to look as human as possible. Only their hands give them away since they haven't perfected the details of the hand, like Rob Liefeld. That reference is for like 10 of you. And while checking out the town, they encounter the king, or is he I? And this leads to a shootout that Peter wins, killing the gunslinger, and we're told that the guns won't fire at anything with a high body temperature. They then try out the brothel next, and at night, the bots are taken back to the lab for repairs to be done, and it seems as if malfunctions are becoming more and more common, and breakdowns are increasing. And after shooting the gunslinger again, Peter is put in jail. So John breaks him out, and trouble starts when John is bitten by a robo-rattler, which isn't supposed to happen. Then a medieval robot spurns a guest's advances, and very shortly after, the Black Knight bot kills another. The guys encounter the gunslinger again, but they have a showdown where John is shot and killed, and soon bots in the park are killing guests left and right, and Richard is chased by the slinger through the desert, and then through Roman World and into the back rooms. But the gunslinger is out there, and he can't be bargained with, can't be reasoned with. He doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear, and he absolutely will not stop ever until Peter Martin is dead. Well, Peter tosses acid in his face, which doesn't quite do the job, so he leads it into Medieval World and sets it on fire. And while trying to save a woman he doesn't realize is a robot, short-circuits her with water. Slingo is soon after him though, but soon his circuits are just too fried to keep going. And there's no dates on screen in the film, so we're going to run with real time for now, and it's 73. 3 years later, a sequel arrived in 1976's Future World, and we get a date right off the bat, as there's a game show with a giant prize check saying 1985, and the winner gets to go to Delos, and Roman World is still there, as is Medieval World, but now there's Spa World and Future World, but there's no mention of Westworld. There's an Easy Rider here, and he's a reporter and wrote a story a couple of years ago about the problems at Westworld. So the first movie was a couple of years earlier, so possibly 2. So that may have been 1983. But then there's a board meeting that says that the worst day in Delos history was 2 years ago, confirming that and giving us 2 dates. And we learn that more than 50 guests died. And there's some footage from angles that I'm not sure how they got. Like, how would they have gotten these shots? They've reopened the resort last month with a ton more fail-safes and new technology, but attendance is down because people are afraid. So the reporters are invited to come and see how safe it is. Gwyneth's mom is here, and so is Mr. Takaguchi here, who we literally just saw in American Ninja, and Chuck and Tracy head off to Future World. Behind the scenes, Mr. O'Rourke from 3 O'Clock High is here, and then there's robot chess, robot boxing, robo-jousts, and we see that Westworld is currently still shut down. And it's weird because they talk about it like that's where all the problems were, but in the last film, all of the worlds were affected. At night though, the reporters are drugged and then they're put into these machines and cloned. They then discover that they're working on a new zone, Eastworld, and there's also this new thing where they can record your dreams, and Tracy has a dream about the gunslinger saving her and taking him to bed. We then find out that they can only be identified through their eyes, so I guess they fixed the hand thing, and Chuck discovers the clones, and their plans are to use those clones to take over governments. They're attacked by Dr. Duffy, who is revealed to be a robot, but then they have a face-off against their own clones. A Tracy is shot, and a Chuck is killed, but it's unclear which, and they leave Delos, but they're both human, and they head back to expose the truth. So then there was a TV show. No, not that TV show. Instead, in 1980, there was a CBS show called Beyond Westworld that was very, very short-lived. 5 episodes were produced, but due to weak ratings, they only aired 3 of them before canceling the show. The other TV episodes did get released in the UK, who showed all 5. The show was a follow-up to the original film and completely ignored the events of Futureworld and involved an evil scientist planning to use the robots to take over the world. Of course, then nothing would happen until 2016 with the debut of the HBO show Westworld. The first season was immensely popular, and it ran for a total of 4 seasons before being canceled. Although the show was a complete reboot, there's definitely some evidence for the original film to be in continuity. At one point they state that they hadn't had a robot failure in 30 years, and if the show takes place in the mid-2010s, an alternate 2010s, then 1983 would have been around 30 years ago. There's an issue there though, since it seems that the show takes place in the 2070s, which doesn't line up with anything, although it is still possible that it ties in with the movie. And there was another instance that happened in the 2040s that was not connected to the original film's events. It's also possible that the original film didn't take place in 1983, since that date was only assumed from Futureworld, and this could be ignoring that and saying that the first film happened in the 2040s. That is also possible. You could take your pick. So there you have it. 2 movies, 2 TV shows that kind of have a continuity, I guess. Everything seems to want to ignore each other. But overall, it works for the most part, and very enjoyable. Westworld is great. It's a very cool movie to watch. A lot of good stuff going on in that one. A lot of great performances. Very cool movie. Futureworld, not bad. Just kind of feels very standard. Just not as interesting to me. But it's certainly not a bad watch. I enjoyed watching it. It just wasn't as exciting as the first one was. And I did watch the first season of the TV show. I should have watched more considering my wife worked on it. But yeah, I only watched the first season and I did like it, but I didn't really have the time to go forward with the rest of it. And I've never seen Beyond Westworld. That one I have not yet watched. I'll have to check it out eventually. Let me know if you've seen these and if you enjoy them. Tell me down below in the comments. If you've only seen the new TV show and haven't seen the originals, maybe check those out. You'll enjoy them. Let me know that down below in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed what you saw. Subscribe to the channel if you want, but also check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/movietimelines, where you can help support these channel like these guys do over here. I appreciate that. Or keep on watching. I hope you've enjoyed Timeline Week. Tomorrow you're going to have a different video that is not timeline related, but there's a new video tomorrow. And I thank you for watching, and we see you very shortly for another great video. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.